Alright, the Google Pixel 7 was just released last month, and now that I've been using it for a few weeks, I've got to admit, I think Google really nailed it on this one. I've been a long-time Pixel user, with my first one being the Pixel 2 XL, and I've also used the Pixel 6 for almost an entire year since launch as my daily driver, as well as the Pixel 6a, so you can say I'm pretty well versed with Pixel devices. But anyways, let's talk about what Google has improved with this latest flagship and what you can expect from it. And spoiler alert, they literally fixed everything, and this phone is like pretty much perfect. Also, massive shout out to Best Buy Canada for sending over this Pixel 7 for me to review. This review would not have been possible without them, and if you're in Canada, make sure to use my links below to check out this Pixel 7. But anyways, back to the video. As you know, Google completely overhauled the design of their phones last year. Their past phones have always been simple and safe, similar to other devices on the market, but with the Pixel 6, they scrapped the cameras on the upper left and instead slapped on a giant horizontal camera bar that goes completely across the phone, making it look like an Among Us character. That made the phone stand out from the crowd and gave it its own unique identity that we all easily recognize now, just like the iPhone's notch. This year, Google aimed to refine the design with a few changes. The first thing you notice is the way they filled in the camera bar with aluminum, leaving a cutout for the camera lenses. I think this looks more elegant and mature, with the bonus that it protects the camera bar more instead of having exposed glass and plastic that was visible on the Pixel 6. And now that Google is using a 6.3-inch display, they've shrunk the overall size of the phone, which in addition to feeling less chunky in the hand, is actually 10 grams lighter, which is a bigger difference than you think. Nothing will beat the beautiful compact size of the Pixel 6a though, which many creators like me love. Other than that, you're getting a matte aluminum frame that feels solid, and metal buttons which feel super clicky, typical of Google. Now, moving on to the front of the phone, the display. They made one major change that has honestly made all the difference and fixed one of my biggest complaints about the Pixel 6, the brightness. You see, on the Pixel 6, it went up to 500 nits of brightness manually and around 800 nits on auto mode, which meant that it wasn't bright enough to use outdoors comfortably. With the Pixel 7, Google says they increased the brightness by 25%, and although tests show that it only increased to a max auto brightness of 1000 nits, it really makes a difference in real life outdoors. There's also still a standard 90Hz refresh rate, which makes the experience feel buttery smooth, especially with the awesome Pixel UI animations. The display also looks great with vibrant and rich colors that are awesome for content consumption. Speaking of content consumption, you are getting a pair of stereo speakers with the main driver on the bottom of the phone and an enhanced speaker piece, which together allows the phone to get really loud and sound clear without distortion at higher volumes. And finally, for biometrics, you might have heard how bad the fingerprint sensor was on the Pixel 6, but don't worry because they fixed that with an update, and ever since the Pixel 6a, the fingerprint sensor has actually worked very well. The same can be said about the Pixel 7, but just a gentle reminder, if you are installing a screen protector on the phone, make sure to head on over to the display settings and toggle on increased touch sensitivity. Also, something that makes me happy is that we finally have Face Unlock on the Pixel 7, which users have been asking about forever. You see, especially in Canada's cold and dry climate, my fingers are often so dry no fingerprint sensors will even register, or if you're wearing gloves in the winter, it obviously won't scan through the glove. The addition of Face Unlock, while not very accurate as it is a 2D scan, is a good backup option when the fingerprint fails, and it's just very convenient as well. Props to Google for listening to the community. You know what would be great though? If you could join the tech community by hitting that subscribe button below. There are a ton of exciting videos that are coming out soon that you shouldn't miss. And now, finally, how does the phone actually perform and feel with day-to-day usage? 2 words, really good. Okay, well that was 3, but still. Last year when the Pixel 6 first launched, there were so many bugs that plagued the entire launch, but with Android 13 on this phone, everything has been fixed and the software runs super duper smoothly and stable, with somehow less bugs than my iPhone 14 Pro. Although the upgraded Tensor chip in this phone doesn't show much of an improvement in benchmarks, I can confidently say that the performance feels a little snappier than my Pixel 6, although it could be a placebo as well. As usual, apps open very fast, animations across the UI are very fluid, and I haven't noticed much stuttering or lagging if at all. Apps also stay open in the background most of the time, which means that you won't have to constantly reload your app when switching between them. And finally, one thing that did bother a lot of people, including me, was overheating on the Pixel 6, but I can gladly say that there is no overheating on the Pixel 7 anymore. As for software itself, I confidently believe Pixel UI on Android 13 is the best software on Android without a doubt. I'm not gonna dig too deeply minute as I will save it for my full review later this month, but here's some stuff I really like about it. It's really simple to use, and the material you theme that forms around the color palette of your wallpaper makes the phone feel more fun and personalized. There are also many small touches in the UI that really add to the experience, such as a little bobbling effect when you get to the end of content, the absolutely amazing haptics you feel when typing on the keyboard, or the way the black fades in and out from the power button when you click it. The always-on display is also both beautiful with a big clock, your battery percentage, and even a feature where the phone automatically identifies any song that's playing in the background. Also, with the smart AI in the phone, you also get a ton of smart features like call screening, which lets Google Assistant take unknown calls instead and helps you avoid scam calls, having the ability to easily copy any text or images from any app, and best of all, an insanely powerful voice dictation feature on the Pixel. With this special voice dictation feature, Google's able to make transcriptions incredibly fast and accurate and all offline. It can even fix grammar mistakes, do auto punctuation, and even send by voice. It's been game changing for me as it often replaces finger typing, especially when my hands are busy or when I need to reply to many YouTube comments at once. By far my favorite feature of the phone, and it still blows my mind to this day. You know what else blows my mind? The incredible battery life of the Pixel 7. Although the Pixel 7 has a lower battery capacity of 4355 mAh compared to 4614 on the Pixel 6, I'm getting noticeably better battery life, especially when the adaptive battery kicks in. I usually get around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time on the Pixel 6, but I can easily get 6+ hours of screen on time with the Pixel 7 while being on data for the majority of the time, and also while hotspotting to my other devices. I don't know what sort of sorcery Google did with this phone, whether it's the smaller screen or Android 13, but it's good and the battery will definitely last you through the whole day. And last but not least, the cameras. I am going to save the full breakdown for the full review as I do want to spend a little bit more time with it, but I can tell you that the experience is almost exactly the same as the Pixel 6 or any other Pixel as a matter of fact. To start off, the Pixel 7 actually uses the same set of rear cameras with both the main and ultra wide having no differences. This means that photos will look pretty much identical to previous Pixels, which was extremely consistent with pictures looking beautiful and punchy, with everything being evenly exposed so you won't have any crushed shadows or blown out highlights. What's new this year is the improved 2x super res zoom that's similar to the iPhone, uses a 12 megapixel section of the sensor with single pixel binning for pretty much no loss of detail, and I can confirm it looks quite good. Another major change I noticed was a better night mode. Instead of taking the usual 2 to 3 seconds to take the photo, I've noticed that the Pixel 7 is much faster at around 1 to 2 seconds for the same result, which basically means less blurry photos and minimizes the chance of any motion blur. And lastly, on the software side of things, we do get photo unblur, which allows you to sharpen any photos of blurred faces in the Google Photos app. I tried this on a few photos and it really works quite well, which is amazing. But that's basically it for all the improvements I've seen with the Pixel 7 so far, and I'm really impressed at how Google refined this phone to make it pretty much perfect. Now that there are no bugs or any hardware issues, I think it's safe to say Google has redeemed their reputation from last year, and you can buy the Pixel 7 or 7 Pro without worrying at all. I will be doing a full review though where I go more in depth about the actual experience and what it's like to use the phone, so make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. And on that note, thank you Best Buy Canada again for making this review possible. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.